What's up,
Chris,
fellas?
what is going on, my man? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Beautiful. All right, how do we scooch this up a little bit? Maybe like this number here,
Yeah, we want to. Yeah, there we go.
just so it's not so fucking
Ooh, that's nice.
halfway house. All right, beautiful,
Got it.
dude. A busy guy. You know what I'm saying? For anybody that sits down for 5 or 10 minutes and reads about Chris Ulsh, they see how does he do it? You know what I'm saying? In 2024, how are you doing it, Chris Ulsh?
How am I doing it?
All of it.
uh, I don't know. I mean, I just been doing it this way for a long time. I guess I don't know what else to say.
Touche, touche.
I don't know what else I'd be doing besides it, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean it's just it's crazy, I think, to me and like Jeremy, where like all of the bands, all of the stuff that you've been doing and that we're already familiar with, and then you do just a 5-second Google search even and you find even more shit that we're like, holy fuck, he was in this. Or we talk to Victor and we're like, the guy's in Vasca. We have involvement with Impalers. It's like, dude, just absolutely killing it and have been. I think that's what's so cool too, is it's just like for years upon years, you've just been slaying all sorts of different things too. I mean,
Well,
from
thank
your
you.
memory, like where does that all start, my man?
Um, just like me playing music in general, or trying to take on too many
Maybe
things.
maybe we'll start with the just taking on music in general.
Um, I mean, as like early as I can remember, I would just listen to music and like bang on stuff. And my mom actually showed me this picture a couple years ago of like I was probably like 3 or 4, I guess, and I had set up like I pulled up a little kid's chair to this cardboard box, and I was just like banging on it. Um, and so I don't know. I always wanted to play drums before for a long time before I ever actually like owned a musical instrument. Um, but then I think around I was probably like 11. Um, I would go to my grandma's house and she had this old rusty guitar that I would like try to play. It wasn't in tune or anything, but like I didn't care. I would just try to do something. And um, I, I my my parents eventually bought me a guitar the next year. Oh, sorry. Let's rewind a little bit. I think I wanted to play drums when I was probably like um, in third or fourth grade, and they were like, "No, you have to take piano lessons,"
Oh.
because they thought they were just gonna buy me a drum set and then I'd quit, and then they'd be like, "Well, we have this thing at collecting dust or whatever." Uh, so yeah, I took like maybe 3 years of piano in elementary school. I really don't like it, um, but yeah, then once I like once they actually bought me a guitar, um, I just didn't leave my room.
So is that largely like as a player, like is it just learning songs and like what sounds cool to you, or are you like bringing in that like elementary like music knowledge and you're like, oh yeah, this key or this chord or these like where are you
Well,
leaning
yeah,
more?
I never really. It's a shame because I learned how to read music a few times in my life. Like I took music classes in high school, but like they didn't teach me anything practical, so I would just forget it. I mean, it's practical, but like any band that I've ever been in, we're not like bringing each other sheet music and stuff. So, um, yeah, I think like um, my first guitar teacher would teach me like Nirvana songs and stuff like easy stuff where I could be like, oh, like this is my favorite band, and like I can play my favorite band's song. Like that was way more interesting to me, and like pulled me in rather than just trying to learn music theory or something like that. So I think having a really cool guitar teacher when I was young um, kept me in it because I don't know, I just would have quit and did something else, I guess.
Well, thank that teacher
Yeah,
because they fucking rip.
his name's Rico Flores, wherever he is out in the universe.
Beautiful.
And it is about the songs. Like I mean, to me, like that's where you're gonna get better. That's where it's gonna be fun. That's like to me, like, yeah, I went through bouts of like, I need to dig into some music theory. But then I'm like, yeah, but there's a Slayer song I could be learning right now. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, it also like from early on, it helps you kind of like see how things fit together and how songs are written, and then um, yeah, your brain is kind of like more uh, geared towards songwriting rather than like I don't know.
What's right?
Yeah, yeah, what's right?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, well, but I mean, yeah, but you're not wrong. Like, like I would agree. I think there's people who really are like emphasize the technical aspects of music, which nothing wrong with it. It's awesome. Like if you see like Defeated Sanity playing like crazy ass fucking like grab like whatever, cool. That's cool. But also like there's this whole spot for songs and just being able to write shit that's like, man, that was awesome. Like I don't care how fast it was or how technical it was. It was just a sick ass song.
Yeah, and I do wish now at this age that I had like kind of um, learned a little bit more about that stuff, or um, tried to learn how to play a guitar solo when I was like in my 20s instead of in my 30s or something like that. You know,
Same.
yeah. Same with drum stuff. I never like I started playing drums when I was in eighth grade, and I never like was in marching band or anything like that. So I never learned any of that stuff. And I mean, I wish I had that like that knowledge or just like that just that feel for like dynamics, like when people play like jazz drums and shit like that. Like I think that's so cool. I can't do
Yeah.
anything with that, you know. Um,
No,
yeah,
I see. I mean, what you're saying with that too, and I think there's like there's a there's a cool aspect to that, but then there's also I think that knack where like cats that are sitting in on like jazz routines or whatever that also see somebody that's just like blasting, and it's almost like a connecting like K.O.S where they're like, holy shit, like they are just playing this same beat way too fast for way too many measures, but I can't do that. I really want to break it up, you know. So I
yeah,
mean, there's also that beauty in that too.
yeah. I think like especially during COVID, I really tried to like learn more about music, and the more I tried to learn, the more I realized I didn't know,
Mm.
if that makes sense. And I was just like, shit, maybe I should have done this a long time ago.
I mean, we talk your first, you know, these earlier days too, and like bring us back. What was that first guitar? What was that first drum set? Jeremy being a guitarist, me being a drummer. You know, we would really like to hear about these things, and just as we did, you know, starting on something, what your first instruments were.
Um, my first guitar was a Fender Squire, and it was like it came in the box like with the VHS, the instructional VHS, and like the little practice amp.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Might have been a bullet squire.
a what?
A bullet. I feel like they called them like a bullet squire. Like they had like the strings that were like they had a little like. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, I remember those shits.
Yeah. And then my first drum set was it was a black Gretsch kit, but it was like it was not a it was a beginner's drum set, and
Okay.
I actually don't have that thing anymore because um, Hatred Surge was squatting our practice space in like 2011 or something, and I left it in there overnight, and they got wise to what we were doing and locked the door on us and tried to take down
Oh no.
when I came back for it, and then I was like, "Yeah, I'll be right back. My ID's in the car," and then I just left. So
You're like, guys, I need a new drum
yeah,
set. Fuck.
Damn. So you had that thing for years just for it to
I
fucking vanish like
mean,
that.
I was so overdue to buy a new, and I was just using my roommates forever for like the early days of Power Trip. I lived with Brian, who used to play in Mammoth Grinder, and I'd be like, "Hey man, can I use your drums?" Which is, you know, the worst thing you can say, really. Um, it,
Awesome. No, that rule. I mean, especially for anybody who is a drummer or has purchased anything drum related, the shit is so
dude,
expensive. Like that's the one thing I feel like after taking on that instrument that you're like, fuck, I'm dirt poor. Why did I pick out drums?
Big mistake.
Like it,
Big mistake.
and like like a cymbal is like $400, which is like you could buy a decent guitar for that, and even like strings are what, $5 or $6, but drumsticks are like 20 something dollars now.
Right.
And don't break a head.
Right.
Don't even think about it. Don't even think about breaking a head right now.
It's wild. It's like, you choose between, hey, do I need, maybe a rusty new secondhand vehicle, or
Yeah,
a goddamn couple of set of cymbals, you're like, what are we doing
yeah,
here?
it's brutal. And I like when I was trying to like practice drums every day during COVID, I had a new cymbal and I broke it, and I was like, I have not even played a show. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like this,
yeah.
like I can't even really justify beat this. And then from then on, and now I just practice on broken cymbals because like why?
It's too expensive.
Yeah.
Can't risk that shit.
Damn. That is insane.
I will say though, drums are the best and coolest instrument. And I feel like if you can drum, like it's like the cheat code. That's what it's like. If you can drum, like pick up a guitar and play some riffs, you're gonna like play those riffs better than dudes who can't play drums. It just like I just feel like there's something about drums that it's like it sucks to play them and it's the worst instrument in the world, but you're gonna be the most badass dude there.
Like surely there has to be an upside, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the only. I mean, you can't. Everyone can't be Miles Davis. Okay, you gotta. There's gonna be something you gotta give.
Yeah. I mean, what do we talk about as far as like?
Well, I don't want to miss. I don't want to miss. Well, hold on. Let's not get too far ahead of it because I was fortunate enough. I was down in Dallas actually to see Fugitive, and I just saw the scene there and the metal scene down there and just the vibe. And I believe your roots are maybe Austin. I don't want to assume anything. I'll let you speak for yourself. But like I'm always curious to hear about music scenes and like how people came up and how okay, I first saw this band. I remember I read a story. I think was it Insect Warfare was one of the first gigs you saw at a record shop.
Yeah.
And you were like, and I remember, but that's to me why that's so cool because I remember in the interview you said something like, that's when you decided like, this is what I'm fucking about. Like this is who I am. And like when I read that, it resonated with me. I was like, I remember being at a scummy ass punk club in Muskegon called the Ice Pick, and being in there and just being like, I don't even like the band so much. It was more punk than I was into, but even then I was like, this is the shit I want to be around. Like I just love this. I want to be around it. I love music. So
Yeah.
like I want to hear about like your scene and what that was like and who's dragging your arm to go to the show and all that kind of shit.
So my best friend in high school was this dude named Charlie, and he was just into like really underground stuff, and kind of really formed my like early musical taste because I think we had like chemistry class together or something, and I had like a Darkest Hour pin or something on my jeans, and he was like, oh hey, I like that band, and I was like, oh yeah, and he was like, what else do you like? And then I like listed some like I thought I was like into grind or whatever, but he was like, that's not real grind, like you should listen to this, and like I listened to it and I was like, okay, like it just wasn't like grabbing me until I used to take him home from school every day, and he was just like, we're going to the show, they're playing at this record store like a couple blocks down from our high school. And that was the first time I'd been to like, there's like a show in a record store, like I couldn't really comprehend that at the time. And it was them and Hatred Surge, and like they were just so ripping, and I had never seen anything like that in my life, and I was like, oh yeah, like this is what I wanted, this is what I want to do now. And I didn't have like the knowledge or the chops to like make music like that at the time, but that's when I really started getting into like I mean, I went from like listening to like Converge and stuff like that to like Morbid Angel and shit like that, and yeah. And then I just saw them as many times as I possibly could from that moment on until they stopped playing shows.
Which band are we talking about?
Insect Warfare.
Insect Warfare.
Yeah.
So that's I can't remember his name. He's in Malignant Altar and Oceans of Slumber.
Oh yeah.
Beverly. Not Beverly.
Doc. Yeah.
But he was the drummer in that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He played. He's been playing drums in like death metal bands in Houston forever. And like stuff before, like I would have been like way too young to even like go to a show, but he was in this really cool death metal band called Infernal Dominion that put out a record, I think, in like the early 2000s or 2000s. That's really sick. Like, yeah, he just keeps playing drums in sick death metal bands.
Dude.
Yeah.
So I mean that rules. No, forgive me if I had missed this, but are you from the Dallas area?
I'm from Houston.
Houston area. Okay, gotcha.
They were Bo from Malignant Altar and Insect Warfare worked at this record store down the street from where me and Charlie went to high school, which is where that show was.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I moved to Austin to go to school when I was 18, and then I stayed there for like 11 or 12 years. So I never actually lived in Dallas, but drove up there for practice and stuff like all the time. Yeah.
Made the rounds, so to speak, especially over the years. Shit. I mean, like when you're kind of developing all of this stuff, and maybe even up until recent, what are a couple of records that pop out to you as things that maybe they're new discoveries, things that you've loved for years, but maybe 4 or 5 records that just come to mind to you that are something that remain important and something that you love still?
Probably Morbid Angel, the first LP, or Altars of Madness, since we were at that. I don't know. That's just like a level of playing that I can't really comprehend, but also like it just sounds like evil to me, Also, the first Master LP. When I heard that record, it was this like perfect blending of death metal and punk, just because it was so primitive. Like those songs are from 80 and that debate as to whether it's like were they the first death metal band or was Possessed the first death metal band. But I heard that and I was like, this is what I've been wanting Mammoth Rider to sound like, like it should be walking that line where like the drums are punk but the guitars are death metal. So that was a big album for me. What else? Maybe Pentagram. It's hard to pick one. I think that's probably like my most. I don't know if they're my favorite band, but they're definitely my most listened to band, and half of that's probably because I had one of their CDs stuck in my car in the CD player for like 5 years. But I was never like, I gotta get this thing out of here. I was like, Pentagram. But my favorite album is probably Review Your Choices.
Okay.
It's like later 90s one. The tones are really cool. Super heavy sounding. A Totalitar. I can't pick a Totalitar record. They're all kind of similar anyways, but that was like a big influence for Impalers and Vasca, for sure.
Okay. I don't know if I'm familiar with that band. Are they like a U.S. act?
They're a Swedish punk band. Started in the early 80s, I think. And then the last record was 2000 something. I mean, they just like didn't really. They have like one 7-inch that I don't like, and then they just have so much good shit. It's like Motorhead, where it like all kind of sounds the same, but you don't care because it all sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Damn. I think after this we're gonna have to check that out because I don't think I've ever. Have you ever heard that band?
Victor might have mentioned him when we were hanging out with him, but other than that, I don't.
Oh shit!
He might have mentioned it, but we were riffing on a bunch of bands that night, so I don't remember. I'm not positive.
him
We'll
and
have to
I.
do like a post show, a listening party here and turn on some of this shit here. No, I mean, as far as like when you sit down and you're playing drums, you're playing guitar, and your first band that you actually record something and have something on a physical aspect, may it be a CD or a tape. What band was that, and what were you playing in that band?
It was Mammoth Grinder, and
Okay.
yeah, I think the first record was kind of it was like we had a friend that worked for Apple, and he was like, I really want to start a record label, and we were like, cool. That means we just have to record a couple songs, and then he'll put it out. Um, and I think we were maybe a little too green, and so I don't know.
Not your favorite release?
What's that?
Not your favorite
No,
release?
no. If if he hadn't been so generous, I don't really think anyone would have released it or whatever. But what are you gonna do?
And now we're here.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
Now
Jesus.
it all worked out.
you know.
Now, I mean, as far as like, do you have a preference? Now, a friend of ours, Antonio Marquez, he's out of Kansas City. There, he plays in a band called Spine. He's the vocalist of, I don't know if you've ever listened to Spine or not, but ripping Midwest act.
Mhm.
He had mentioned and was kind of wondering as far as like when you're in multiple acts like this, when you're playing drums, when you're doing vocals, you're playing guitar. Do you have a preference on one or the other, and maybe a favorite performance of yours from over the years and doing all the different aspects?
Yeah, my preference is definitely to only play guitar. Uh, I
Okay.
pick one. Um, like the only bands that I just played guitar in were Iron Age and Innumerable Forms.
Oh, okay.
I think like one of my favorite shows in recent memory is probably when Innumerable Forms played at Killtown Death Fest in Copenhagen.
Oh,
Uh,
oh.
it was cool. It was just like a really well done fest. The sound was really good. Um, we played well. The videos are cool. I don't know.
It always helps when having a recording around that, like, you're like, holy shit, that sounds maybe even better than what I thought when I was at the show.
Yeah, sure. And I don't like go back and watch videos of myself playing shows, but like the other guys in the band were like, "No, this sounds really, really good." And yeah, I just ended up watching the whole thing. I was like, "Oh shit!" Yeah, I'm like, not bad. But
Calling
yeah,
the rest of the family, hey guys, it's me. Shit. No, that's awesome. I mean, it is funny too. Like even on like a smaller scale, we had recently played a show, and his wife had taken some videos of the show, and we are like thinking the whole time, like, man, that was ass. And then we watched back, we're like, whoa, like
yeah,
this ripped.
Yeah.
yeah.
Damn.
It's never what you think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you're like,
Uh,
really good, and then it wasn't.
If you've
yeah.
learned the music theory, it probably is always good.
What's that?
If you've learned the music theory, it's probably always good. But I wouldn't know anything about that.
Yeah, me neither.
So, some nights are good, some nights are not as good.
Some nights you're sharp.
Yeah.
Do this last
Yeah.
music gear, you think?
Are you a big gear guy, Chris?
No, I wish I was. I've had the same 2 amps forever.
I was gonna say it seems like when I was like just watching videos and stuff, like watching Mammoth Grinder, it just seems very utilitarian. It's like I need a bass, I need an amp, let's rip.
Yeah. I wish I knew more about that stuff. I guess it just didn't come naturally to me to like research things like that. Really, what it is like I'll play a friend's thing or like borrow something and be like, oh, I like this, I should get one. But I don't typically like seek that stuff out. I have like enough to get the job done, and yeah, I wish I I wish I could tell you more about like old amps and
No, no,
guitars and shit.
no. By all means, like there's gearheads and there's dudes that just rip, and that's what they do. So it's all good.
And I think that's cool though as well, because like I guess even from like a drum standpoint, a lot of times the things that I've come to use has been from like being at shows and like watching other friends that are doing stuff and they're playing, you know, the Sabian whatever, or they're doing like, you know, the Tama pedals, and I'm like, oh well, you know, can I try those really quick just to kind of feel these versus this? And you know, it feels a little bit more of like a pre-YouTube time where it was like everything has access to, you know, being
Yeah.
able to see like how easily you can play this pedal with a boner or not. You know, and you're like, come on,
But
man.
yeah,
Like,
so,
Where did
like we're
things just go?
yeah.
spending the money without playing it first, you know?
Or that. Yeah, that's the other part too. I mean, you know, especially with drums. Thank God for somebody wanting to give a high five and let you use some shit. Dear Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I, I appreciate that. I mean, over the years, what bass have you used as far as with Mammoth Grinder?
Um,
And your playing too is very, you know, like very slapping up and down and very active as well.
oh, dude, that's just like the best feeling and sound maybe is a bass slide before something cool happens. I just had a Fender P bass, nothing special. I got some lace pickups put into it, so it's like a little hotter than usual. Um, yeah, yeah, I don't know.
Sick. I mean, these are the things to hear, you know?
Huh?
I said, these are the things to hear. I mean, you know, the P bass and maybe have a little tweak with the pickups there, and goddamn, you're rolling.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way the first time. I bought like a new. It wasn't a Fender. It was like a weird Japanese Epiphone like Squire body ripoff thing. I bought it super cheap off eBay and had to get some guy to like set it up because it was in disarray, which was why it costed nothing. And then I tried to play it at band practice, and I was like, "Oh, this sounds like this is like a Fender." You know, you can't play death metal on this thing unless you do a couple things to it first.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dial it
Yeah.
in. So with that said, like let's get in. I mean, we have a lot of bands we could be digging through here. So I'm wondering, you know, with the multiple things going on, and each one of them kind of like, you know, charting their own course in their own way, right? You know, how do you manage that? So like when I look at a band like Mammoth Grinder, it's Ryan Parrish on drums, who was in Iron Reagan and Darkest Hour. I had made that connection today. Actually, I was like, wait a minute, he was in Darkest Hour. Anyway, and then the guitar player from Iron Reagan as well. Like those guys are more like Jersey, like East Coast dudes. Are you still in Texas?
I moved to Philly 5 years ago,
Okay.
but we have a different Mammoth Grinder lineup now, and I actually went back to playing guitar, but second guitar, like the way we.
Okay.
It was like me, Wade, Alex, and Brian. But yeah, that definitely makes things easier now that like everyone else in the band is on the East Coast.
Right. Is there, I mean, how is this working as far as are you flying back and forth with doing these power trip dates that are coming up too?
Yeah, yeah. I'll just go down there for a rehearsal like once a month or something like that usually.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if there was anything, you know, that was kind of, you know, with today's updated, you know, if you had maybe some 3D projectors and the boys were just right there and you guys are clinking a beer, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I'm sure there's a way, but we
Are you guys fairly low tech when it comes to some of that stuff? Like, are we like recording riffs on the phone and just saying, here's the shit? Or is it like we're tracking some stuff and emailing it? Like, what does that look like when you're kind of going through the writing process?
I think it just depends for which band, but like I have a somewhat crude like recording set up in my practice space here. So I'll just demo stuff that way. Yeah, I have like one of those 8-track uh, uh, what's the word? What's the word I want right now?
Interface?
Yep, there it is. Yeah, I have an 8-track interface, and so I'll just like mic up a drum set and then just play everything over that and like kind of mix it, but not really because it's just for our ears
It's a
only.
demo.
Yeah.
Not even a demo. It's a
Mhm.
writing demo.
Yeah.
Now, as far as with we don't mean to jump here, I mean, you got a lot of great shit going on, and we're trying to take 10 pages and make them into 7 and make it into 5 and make it into 3. We're not trying to take up your whole night, Chris, but we could. We just want to be a little bit more, a
Thoughtful.
little bit more thoughtful, if you will. Within Mammoth Grinder, I mean, you guys, you come together. You have a little bit of a newer lineup that's coming up. You guys have some practices going on. Now, where did this come as far as why now as far as jumping on getting some shows going and jumping out with nails, 200 stab wounds,
Yeah.
tribal days? Dear Jesus, that might be why. It makes sense.
That is definitely why. We I just got an email like out of the blue almost a year ago, maybe a little bit less than that, but prior to me getting that email, I didn't really have any plans to do any more stuff with Mammoth Grinder, but I think it kind of happened at the right time, like I didn't have I didn't have a whole lot going on. Power Trip wasn't doing much, and I really wanted to do some like actual touring again. Um, and I was like, I, I just thought about it, and I was like, okay, well, we'll be in some like pretty big rooms. That could be cool. Maybe we could get like, maybe we could do 2 guitars again. Maybe we could add like some extra guitar solos and stuff like that. And the gears just started turning in my head, and then I was like, I could maybe squeeze out some new music in time for that, and then try to do that. So like, it all just kind of snowballed, and then here we are.
Did I hear new music? There's new music.
Yeah.
Not that
Uh,
we don't got to break it here. I overheard
yeah,
that.
I mean, it's I don't know if it's going to be out in time for the tour, but my goal is to maybe have like a track that people can hear by then. Uh, but it's 4 songs and then like kind of like a synthy interlude. My friend that did all the ones on the last LP did the same thing. So it's 5 tracks total and like a 12-inch EP.
Dude,
That's sick.
so sick. God damn, that's gonna be awesome.
You heard it here
Yeah.
first on Chance,
Dear
boys.
Lord. Let the network crash.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Hey, guys, our servers are overloaded. Our servers are overloaded.
Dude, no, that's so sick. That's awesome. I can't wait. I mean, and that was kind of one of those things too. I think just with seeing that lineup and seeing Mammoth Grinder, you guys being on the New England Hardcore Metal Fest, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't see that you guys were doing stuff again. So hearing all of this, I mean, this is fucking awesome. I can't wait, man. This is gonna be great.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, like, have you guys jumped on doing, because you mentioned having 2 guitarists again, and are you guys doing a lot of practicing right beforehand, or do you have kind of a week set before the tour starts?
We practiced for the first time like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and everyone's like in touring bands that are super busy. So I think we'll really hit it hard like in the weeks before that tour starts. But
Okay,
yeah,
man, dude, so sick. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, like, what's interesting to me, like, I know you guys played a gig in 2022, like in Oakland with Necro, like, so there was a gig then,
uh,
or was that farther
that
back?
was in 2018. That was on the
Well,
last
yes,
headline tour we did.
yes. So, I mean, was that about the last time you guys were playing many shows? I can't recall the last time I was seeing Mammoth Grinder on like
Yeah,
lineup.
that last LP came out on Relapse, and then we did a big like month-long headliner tour, and that was it.
Damn.
Gotcha. Because I will say, I feel like people right now, I mean, I think especially just with the resurgence of so many different, like, death metal is so prevalent right now that, like, it feels like when people saw it was like a white whale moment. It was like, oh my God, Mammoth Grind. Like, so that's got to feel kind of cool. Like, I mean, I know you've been ripping on this since, Apple Music made a subsidiary to release your you know, your 3-song demo, and like to like kind of like it, you know, have a project that people are like, oh my god, like we give a fuck, like we can't wait to see this band. Like that's pretty sick. Like, and the responses I've been hearing from people, like a lot of people that I wouldn't necessarily even expect. I think there's like some weight associated with Mammoth Grind. Like, oh man,
Yeah,
like they're real ones.
that's cool to hear. I have no idea what to expect. Like, I know it's gonna be fun and the shows are gonna be good, but you know, 6 years is a long time not to do anything. So, um, yeah,
If anything, it's fun to get back out there and slap on some of this shit again, and maybe see a new site. Because you said you're playing second guitar on this now, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Still doing vocals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, as far as your bass playing, I think that was something that's always stood out to me as far as just the movement that you have and the up and down. Like what's your influence? I mean, as far as jumping on bass, is it playing guitar? Because I know, I mean, you consider yourself first and foremost a guitarist, but
Yeah.
you know, as far as your bass approach, are there specific people that you see that you're like, I like that?
I mean, playing in bands with Alex Hughes, probably he was like has a music degree in bass. And but like watching him play that style of music, uh, I always thought that that was really cool. And you know, I've seen him play all these songs before, so um, I know how cool they can sound on bass. But
Okay.
the reason we switched was I think were in the middle of we were in the middle of a tour. This was probably like 2014 or 15, and Mark was a really good guitar player, but he was playing bass just because that was the open position in the band at the time. And I just kind of had this thought, like, uh, I, I don't need to be carrying like this much of the live show. Um, I could just switch to bass, you know, focus a little bit more on vocals, and then Mark can like actually play the solos that I want to play or something. And yeah, we're at a show in Columbus, I think, Ace of
Yep.
Cups.
Okay.
Columbus.
Yeah.
I was like, Mark, let's switch. Like, you know the guitar parts, right? And he was like, yeah, I know the guitar parts. And I was like, all right, well, let's just do it. And Ryan was like, guys, no, this is a bad idea. Like, you can't just do this in the middle of a tour. And I was like, well, why not? Like, I was just kind of bored too. I was like, I just want to try it. And then against Ryan's better judgment, we switched, and maybe it's a good thing that there's not a video of that show, but yeah, we just kept it like that. And like the last record, I demoed all the stuff at home, playing everything, and sent it to the two of them, and they just learned everything. So I didn't play a single note of guitar on that record.
Oh, okay.
That was all Mark. I just did bass and vocals.
Okay. Man, yeah, I think that's always something interesting, just seeing you playing bass with the band, and I don't want to say the animation because I don't want it to seem like you know you're like Animal on drums or fucking you know just being crazy, but like for playing bass, like you have a lot of movement going on, and there's a lot of shit going on into the parts when you're playing too. So, but you know, I mean, you know, chalking it up and mentioning Alex as well, like. Bravo, you know, it's sick stuff all the way around. So and very much I love how you guys kind of consider it like a punk death metal, you know, because when I listen to it, that's the idea that I get as far as the overall aesthetic. But you're listening to it, it's like this is death still.
Yeah, yeah, good. That's what
Yeah,
I
that's sick.
want to say. So
Now, as far as a newer project and something that's more recent to you, K.O.S. Now, Jeremy had pointed out something to me that I never even saw. When he initially saw the cover art, he was like, "Is that band called Chaos?"
you're not the first person to say that
Oh,
actually, but
okay, weird.
That's not it though. It's
it's
K.O.S.
Kinetic Orbital Strike.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, but he had said that, and I was like, "Fuck." Maybe he's. I mean, maybe he's onto something because I had never saw it like that before. But after Jeremy had said it, I was like, "Yeah, maybe." I knew it was. I knew it stood for.
Yeah, but maybe I was like, well, maybe they did that because it's like it spells chaos.
Yeah, like the long version came after that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You were like, what could KOS mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kinetic Orbital Strike.
We wanted a name, like I wanted a really long band name because there's this like trend of newer bands with these like really short one syllable band names. And I was like, fuck that. I want our name to be something like Extreme Noise Terror, like one of those like, you know, old 80s bands where you're just like, it's a fucking mouthful. So we settled on Kinetic Orbital Strike, and I was like, we got to spell it out. Like we can't do K.O.S. It has to be spelled every time. And I got shut down on that front, but.
And that way, you know what though? Now you can go back and be like, motherfuckers, everyone thinks we're called K.O.S. now. And be like, I told you, we just spell it out. It's fucking no logo. It's just text.
Yeah.
And you fuckers wanted to make it look cool and say Chaos.
Yeah.
But do you remember were there other working titles that you guys had working on for a little while that you just didn't end up settling with? I love the old school, you know, fucking almost sentence long, you know, feeling names.
We had another band name. This is so stupid. We had another band name in the mix, but then we just used that for another band that me and the drummer had.
Okay, fair enough. Not
Yeah.
quite this one. We'll make another one and just still use it.
Yeah.
Fuck yes, that's awesome. I mean, now as far as that being like you know your most recent thing, like what went into K.O.S. and you know having this act sound and look the way that it does, the aesthetic, the cover art to these, it's all around badass, my man.
Thank you. So I started the band with Daniel, who plays drums, and I had known him previously, but like we got to know each other when Power Trip toured with Devil Master. He was filling in on drums for them, and this was maybe like a couple months before I moved to Philly. And I knew I wanted to play music with people there, but I just didn't know like a ton of people. And I was really just only playing in this isn't true, but I wanted to, in addition to like the metal bands I was playing in, I wanted to do a punk band, and he wasn't doing a punk band, but had this band called Pollen, with the same singer of K.O.S. And he was like, yeah, we should just, you know, do something like that. And I was like, yeah, of course. So I moved here, we practiced a little bit, then it was COVID, and then like that delayed things, and then we wrote most of the material towards the end of COVID, and then had to get a new bass player. It took years for us to release these like 10 songs that are to me so old now, but I'm really happy with the result. And yeah, it's cool. It's a fun band to play in. That's another band where I just play guitar.
Okay. All right. You know, and it's funny too because like kind of looking into different interviews and you know some things that you had mentioned as far as like thinking of yourself first and foremost as a guitarist. It's weird to me. I mean, as far as like always knowing you from Power Trip, and so like I'm going back and looking at other these things and looking at the credits. I'm like, oh fuck, he's playing bass. Or well, I knew Mammoth Grinder you were singing, but you know, oh, you know, you're playing guitar too. So like, I mean, that's something that I mean that's awesome that you know you kind of have that thing. Like I have certain times where I try to pick up guitar or I try to show Jeremy, you know, I'm like, well, you know, maybe play it like this, and then he's got you know, way more going on and it actually sounds cool. I'm just like, I'll stick with fucking trying drums, I guess, you know.
I actually joined Power Trip because I think Blake was going to school in Arizona, and they really wanted to play the show in some fest in Texas. I don't remember where it was, but Riley was like, hey, will you fill in on guitar for us? And so I played that show, and then their drummer quit. That was the last show he played, and I was like, well, I play drums, and I know your songs already now. And that's how that started.
And you knew them just from being in Mammoth Grinder
Yeah.
and being in Texas and playing shows together, right?
In Dallas all the time, and then playing in Austin. I'm sure, I can't think of examples like before I joined the band, but I'm sure we played together a bunch.
Damn. And I mean, years later, now, you know, where is that, experience for you as far as, and I don't want this getting, too personal with, all the things within the band and shit, but I mean, as far as like stepping up and having these shows now and Seth being up there and may we say, collectively, uh, absolutely fucking awesome. Just the sound of you guys, the return, it feels beautiful. I mean, from a fan's point of view. I mean, how about from
Yeah,
yours?
I mean, it, yeah, it definitely feels good. I think it would have been even more sad if we just like never played again, or like got to play these songs for people that really wanted to hear them. And I think in the time like after Riley passed to now, there's a bunch of people that heard Power Trip for the first time, um, and like those people deserve to be able to see the band, So that's kind of where our heads were at, and yeah, so far the shows have been really cool.
Awesome. And I think a beautiful thing too, like, and once again, this is from an outsider's point of view, but it's, in seeing Seth and seeing his involvement in the Texas scene, like, it's not like you guys just had some sort of schmuck that came up and had, the same hairdo and maybe a nice looking, like set of earrings or some shit. Like, I mean, the guy steps in and he's absolutely killing it. I mean, also sounds great, but has been very involved in the Texas scene for a long time. I mean, it's just it is awesome, and thank God for that. Thank God for him being around. Shit.
That was important to us is having someone that comes from like the same place as us, um, and like understands what this stuff means to the band members and like all of the people that really like the band and feel like close to the band and like it's their band, and yeah.
I'm forgetting now. Was the first show that you guys played as a return that was in Texas, right?
No, the first one was in LA actually.
It was a surprise set, right? It was like a sneak attack.
We played it was that No Values Fest.
Oh shit. Okay.
And I think that was kind of like the catalyst to us being like, all right, this fest is cool. Um, we played that. Or actually, are you talking about the at the Fugitive show when we
Oh,
played like a couple?
that
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. So when you guys when it was like, oh shit,
yeah, yeah,
it was a Fugitive gig. I forget where, but you guys just kind of like piggybacked on the
yeah. So
set or something,
me
right?
and me and Victor's other band played right before Fugitive, and we were just kind of like, well, if everyone's here, like, let's just play a couple Power Trip songs with Seth
Mhm.
and like see if people like it or whatever. And then that went well. So then the fest approached us, and we were like, yeah, we'll play that, but if we play that, we have to play Dallas, obviously. Yeah, here we are.
Dude.
Yeah.
Was that not planned? That surprise set after Fugitive?
It was planned, but it was like it wasn't like impromptu. We weren't just like looking around and being like, "Oh, everyone from the band's here." We
Yeah.
were like, the show was coming together in that way, and we were like, "Okay, well, if I'm going to be down in Texas, and like Nick and Chris are probably going to come to the show, so like let's just do this." And
Yeah.
yeah,
Fuck, dude, that's the. For some reason, I was just picturing, like all of a sudden, you got Seth over here and he's like smoking a cigarette in the parking lot, slinging T-shirts, and Nick's over somewhere, smoking some ribs, and it's like, boys, we're all here. Why not?
yeah,
And I gotta say
It's
that
so cool. Very cool.
it had to be a wild ass time, that Dallas show, because like I said, just seeing Fugitive and the energy that people were just giving that, which obviously Fugitive rip in their own right. Like I don't want to diminish anything like that, but it's just like the passion and like the love that like people in that area just seem to have for that band and anyone associated with it. It's pretty remarkable, really. I mean,
yeah,
just to see. It was cool to at least be able to experience it kind of vicariously by checking out, Fugitive, but still like, um, no, it's just badass. And like the lineups are cool as hell with like Ceremony and Frozen Soul. And then I thought it was cool as shit that Mil Spec was playing one of the gigs, just because it was like I really like them, and I just feel like, you know, someone explained to me that's much smarter than me. They were like, well, they were actually really tight with Riley
Yeah, they were.
back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, me being a drummer, and just maybe a personal moment here to ask, as far as do you have like a record that you reflect on as far as like your favorite drum tone, or maybe a time that you had a drum solo or a little kind of lick that you're like, that wasn't how it was supposed to go, but thank God it did. It sounded great.
Something that I played on.
Yeah.
I really like the I really like the last Bosca LP. Um,
Yeah.
we it was just like fun to record. I don't really understand how we did this, but we had the kick and snare mic'd, but running through a tape machine, just so it got the analog like tape saturation, and then mic'd everything else digitally.
Oh,
Um,
shit. Wow.
I think the drums are cool, and we just spent like a lot of time on it, and we're super locked in and practice like all the time.
Oh,
And
damn.
not that I don't do that for any other like band's recordings, but I don't know, just like that, and then the way it came out was really rewarding. And I'm trying to think what else. I liked the drums on the last Devil Master record I played on, but we were kind of like um, stretched for time in the studio. Like we should have booked more time, and we didn't. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
it seemed incomplete to me, but like the bones of the songs are all really cool. Like the album's still great, but um,
Dude. That's
that
so
that one
sick.
was that one was totally analog, and so I was like really fucking scared that I was like, okay, I can't mess up at all. I have to get all the way through the song without messing up. And I'd never played double bass before, so I learned it for that record. And
Oh, shit, really?
there were some songs where it was just like at the end of the song is a lot of double bass. So I was like, fuck, I can play everything perfectly and get to the end, and then like, it sounds like popcorn, and then I gotta like, yeah.
What pedal did you end up using when you were taking on double bass there?
I got an Iron Cobra, and I kept like the huge beaters that it came with to be like, I feel like it's harder to play this than if I got one of those Speed Cobras or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, if I can learn on this, then I should be
Just
good.
it's that much easier doing it on
And
something else.
switched over. I just kept using it. Um, but I did, like we were talking about earlier, played on those Speed Cobras when we were at Mammoth Grinder practice on Ryan's drum set, and I was like, why don't I have one?
Dude,
Fucking gear.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, no, and that's part of the beautiful.
But those are so. Let's not even get started on that again. I was actually looking to buy a pair of double kick pedals just for like to learn a little bit, and I'm like,
I had luckily found some used. So yes, I say I have Speed Cobras, but I also tell people, look, I didn't spend no 900 fucking
Yeah.
dollars on a pair of fucking pedals. Like it's just it's crazy. I mean, I appreciate gear, but I also have to have it kind of meet me in the middle as far as working for me, because I'm not taking on a second mortgage, Chris. God damn it, just for a fucking rack tom.
fuck you, Tama.
Or if Tom is watching this,
You know what? No.
Thank you.
I take that back. They make some decent kit. I'm sorry, Tama.
Chris and I love you, so
Yeah.
we'll if you're gonna help us, then help us. We need it.
Yeah.
No, now you were mentioning Devil Master 2, and this record here, Vile Twisted Magic Process. You're involved as far as recording the record as well, right?
Yeah, okay, so it's kind of a funny story with that tape. We just recorded our set. Like I recorded it in my practice space, but us playing the set all the way through live, because most of it is old songs, and we just played them differently. And like I added a bunch of double kick and other stuff to it, and
Okay.
we were all like, oh, like these songs sound different and cool now, and we should document it. And I was like, well, I can record it and then I can mix it or whatever. And that was my first like foray into trying to see something to like I didn't master it, but like see something to the end of that recording process and actually releasing it. And I also had like Arthur had just given me a couple lessons, like a few months before. It was just like, oh, this is how you EQ stuff. This is how you compress things. And I did that. He mastered it, sent it to everyone, and I was like, I think this sounds awesome. And they're like, yeah, we should have it be like a surprise, cool thing where we just put it on the merch table and don't tell anyone that it's out. And I was like, well, fuck.
It's awesome.
uh, but yeah, that's the story behind that tape.
Okay. Is everybody like, was this some shitty demo that came out in the 90s, or what's going on with this thing?
I don't know what anyone thought of it,
Oh,
actually.
they just picked it up and they're like, hey, thank you.
A lot of people want it released.
I hadn't
gathered.
I think I hadn't played live with them in a while. Like my schedule just got too busy, and they were like really hitting it pretty hard. So I wasn't on the tour where they actually had the tapes, and I don't think there were a ton of them, and I don't think they ever did mail order or anything. So
yeah, get it if you can get it. You know what I'm saying?
So was that like a one and done for you, or are we gonna start seeing like producer Chris Ulsh?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I think that would be a fun and like interesting thing to do is produce a record. Only one person has asked me so far, and I wasn't able to do it. But as far as like recording stuff goes, I think I'm just gonna stay in my lane there. I can just get too in the weeds with like changing stuff around, and I'd rather leave that to the professionals.
Yeah, sure.
It's just
I mean,
not as much as I like to do it and do it for demoing stuff. Like the actually like doing it and having someone give me money in exchange for that, I'll leave it to Arthur. You know.
Now, as far as you and playing in bands, do you have a particular moment that you prefer as far as being in studio, the writing process, playing live shows? Like, where is your, I mean, I'll say for me personally, I hate recording, and I don't know why. It always comes out fine. It's always a lot of fun, but I'd rather do all the other shit. I don't know as far as where are you at with that?
I think I love record. I like practicing the most, which is maybe kind of twisted, but
less people that way.
What's that?
People that way.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I like workshopping stuff, and like where you really grind stuff out. Sorry, what was your original question?
What do you prefer? And you said you said practicing. Yeah. Recording, practicing, playing shows.
It's like, I have like more ideas than I have time for, and it feels really good to finally like get something out of my head and not have to think about it anymore. And that's like the I don't know, recording something is like the process of that leaving my brain.
Okay.
Until I have to play every day for 2 fucking months or whatever, but
yeah. Get it out there finally.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I love recording because it's kind of like I don't have to worry about it as much anymore. I can be like, okay, it's there, it's existing. I don't have to worry about like forgetting it or like not seeing it through. Like once it's like tracked, it's like cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the studio. That's when I was like, oh man, he's getting into recording stuff. I didn't know he recorded the live Devil Master release, but you're not. You're staying in your lane.
Yeah.
No breaking news. You're not opening a studio.
Yeah.
No, he's not releasing any amp sims or any kind of plugins or any Chris Ulsh signature EQs or anything like that.
No, sir.
All right.
Thank God. Any of that shit, I don't even understand what it is. I'm like, it sounds cool. It's probably great. But I have my kit and my 3 cymbals, and that's all. That's about the length that it goes. I don't even goddamn plugins. Jesus, plug in a drum set for Christ's sake. Leave me alone.
So speaking of Arthur Rizek, like, are you like, is that the connect? Because you play a solo on Soulfly Spirit Animal.
Crazy.
Yeah, I think Arthur answered the chat. Hey, Arthur.
Dehumanizer? Is that, did I see Dehumanizer in
Yeah.
there? The Human
Uh,
Bumser?
he so he recorded that record, and
He
um,
said, keep his name out of your mouth.
oh,
Ulsh.
well, I'm certainly not going to do that because I have to tell the story.
Too late, Arthur. It's for the episode. Chill.
Uh, they I don't really know the story. They kicked out their guitar player or something after the record was already recorded, and Arthur just took it upon himself to record every solo on the record, and it was a lot. So I think he outsourced a couple to New John, who's an Eternal Champion in Summerlin's, and then he gave. So that's my claim to fame in Soulfly world is playing that solo.
Dude.
It's the best Soulfly album in a while. It's tremendous.
That's awesome.
And that song is cool as hell. And that lead is like so
Yeah.
like dirty. Like so done. It's like I'm in a fucking dungeon in the woods somehow.
I didn't realize it was the last song on the record. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know.
So was your context literally just like, here's the 2-minute riff, do your part?
He was like, no, the solos from here to here. So I just looped it and played over it for I don't know how long, and then sent him something and was just like, yeah, I hope you guys use this. And like a couple months later, I was like, hey, Arthur, like, whatever happened with that solo? And he was like, oh, it's pressed on the record or something. And I was like, oh, I was just expecting him to be like, hey, I'm sorry, they really didn't like your guitar solo.
And you wouldn't even been mad. You would have been like, well, I get it.
Yeah.
It's Max Cavalera, it's Soulfly. Like,
Yeah.
It happens. What a guy he is, Max Cavalera. Jesus, like,
So sick.
I wish I wasn't a coward and I would only just have 4 strings on my guitar, because he's written more riffs than I ever will with 4 fucking strings. And he just keeps going. And the dude's a badass. Like, found a youth somewhere out in Arizona. And he's a Lions fan. I'm a jock. And he loves the fucking Detroit Lions. And I'm a
Really?
big Lions fan. So yeah, he loves the Detroit Lions. It's like his favorite fucking team.
I wonder what the connection is.
They're the best team. So he has good taste.
Right.
They're underdogs, you know. It's like
okay.
It's like that rooting for the, like, you know.
Okay.
The underdog.
Yeah.
I can see that.
The disrespected. Nail Bomb. Yeah, someone mentioned Nail Bomb. Sick band. We didn't cover this, but I fucking love Innumerable Forms. And I get, my understanding with that is that kind of just started off as like a DFJ, like Finnish death metal sort of like worship, like his one-man band type of thing. Is that very much so like what the vibe is, and you're just a bud helping out and I'll play live with you? Or are you like, no, we're writing songs together and we're in this thing together?
It started out that way for sure. I met him when Hatred Surge played some show with Mind Eraser in Toronto's maybe like 2008 or something.
Oh yeah.
And
Mind Eraser.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What a band, right?
Yeah. Holy shit.
I was sound checking with just like some death metal riff, and then after the show, he comes up to me and he goes, "Yo, I have a death metal band. You should play guitar." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, duh." And he sent me the demo, which I think became the first 7-inch Dark Worship, and he wanted to play some shows, so Mammoth was just the backing band for Innumerable Forms for a really long time. Like, we didn't do a ton of stuff, but I think it was finally like maybe 2015 or something like that is when we got Jensen playing second guitar, and then Connor, who's the drummer now, playing drums. That's when like the current lineup came in to the fold, and Jensen and Justin wrote the first LP together. I was just playing. I just did most of the leads on it, kind of similar to when Arthur made me do that lead. He was like, "This is where you solo," and then I just
Stay in your lane, Ulsh.
yeah. But then for the last LP that came out, Philosophical Collapse, Justin was kind of like, I'm like the riff well is a little tapped. Like, you should try to write something, and I was like, man, I don't know. Like, I'll try. And then he came to Philly, and I was like, I had this song. It sucks. Like, you're not gonna like it. And he was like, no, that's the song. And then I just kind of had like the confidence to write a little bit more stuff, and that record is probably one of my favorite things that I've ever played on. It was a really good like mix of me, Justin, and Jensen's guitar stuff, and writing it was just fun and like came together really well. And part of that was like me moving to Philly, which is between Boston and DC, so we could get stuff done and demo stuff, go over it a million times, fix things, and yeah. So that's kind of how the band works now. And we actually have a new LP that's maybe like 75% of the way done, I want to say.
Fuck. Awesome.
Is the single that was out in 23 connected, or is that was a single in 2023, right? After Philosophical Collapse.
One of those songs was extra from Philosophical Collapse, and I think we just felt like the record was too long. And it also kind of didn't fit. Like, it was a little bit too much like Peaceville, Paradise Lost, like sort of, I don't know if melodic is the right word, but it just like didn't fit in with the LP songs as well. And then we started writing for the new record. That's what the other song is. And we just like recorded the first one that seemed like it was done. But I don't think that one's going to be on the new record. We just have like, we have more than
just a single.
Yeah.
That was just a little taste then.
Now that's kind of how it shaped up. But yeah, so those songs are just like on an island on their own.
So I don't want to get a sidetrack because I wasn't expecting to maybe dig into this, but dude, I have a couple questions. Like I said, I love Innumerable Forms. I love everything else, but like, I might be the only band. Like, I have Philosophical Collapse, I believe, on vinyl and on cassette, and I don't have many records in that form. Like, they're in both forms. So,
Innumerable forms.
It's innumerable form.
Jesus, here we are, fellas.
You can't make this shit up. And on that note, anyway, so we're like, so innumerable forms. Obviously, like I said, there's Finnish death metal in there. There's like, it's a death metal band, but like when you're riffing on that, when you're like, so first, do you mind sharing what song it was that you were like, here's the thing? Did it make it on the album that you were like, I don't know? And he was like, no, this is it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I don't know the actual song names on the album because when we were writing it, we named them all after dishes at this Vietnamese place that we would go to before practice. So the song is called Crazy Pineapple, but I don't know what the song is called.
So that might be Lifeless Harvest.
Yeah.
Wait, that's the first song. I don't know. You want me to look it? Let me look it up for you.
People gotta know what you said. It's called Crazy Pineapple.
Yeah, that's the fake name.
We started a grind band called Crazy Pineapple.
Yeah. Well, why not?
I think it's Deified Tyrants is a song, I think.
So prior to this record.
No, right here.
It's the first side on the first song on the B side, I think.
I don't have it on me right now, but I'm gonna take your word on that.
I was gonna say don't play it because it's gonna cut this off. Somehow the fucking lives are shit.
Oh, it's like smart. It'll be like, oh, music's playing.
It'll pick up like somehow these lives will pick up copywritten music, no matter what the fuck it is, the most obscure shit you want, and all of a sudden it fucking cuts it off and deletes your shit. So I'm like, don't do that.
So anyway, with that particularly, sorry, what was that?
I just said it's good to know because I was about to try to play it on my computer just to see if I was right, but
yeah,
we can find out later. We'll coordinate it later and figure out what track it was. But
Perfect.
But you know, what's inspiring you when you're writing some of that stuff, or when you wrote the Crazy Pineapple song? Like, what are you You know, what bands are you like vibing on, or is that not how? Maybe that's not how you write. Maybe you're just like, I just play whatever comes
Well,
out. But like,
I think what helped is that before I started writing anything for innumerable forms, I've been like playing innumerable form songs for like a really long time. So I kind of already knew like the wheelhouse, and I just tried to, I guess, stay in that. And um, it's a lot of like it's really like 2 years of Finnish death metal, like 90 to 92 or something. Um, is where we like originally, I think Justin originally wanted that band to live, but yeah, it was just that. And then I was kind of like, well, if I write a part that's like a little bit slower than that, no one's gonna be mad because it's a death doom band, you know.
mm, Devil Edge goes slow,
Yeah.
so you can go slow.
Justin also, like, one of the first times we hung out, I think we were on tour in Boston, and this was back when you could like hook your iPod up to someone else's computer and they could just put music on it. So he put like all the Demigod and Disgrace and like Abhorrence demos and stuff. Um, so I had been like taking that stuff in for quite some time too, and I never really tried to write anything that sounded like that, and I think that helps.
Yeah.
That makes sense, you know. It's just kind of like everything is new, everything is fresh, and uh,
Well, I think it's cool. Like you were saying, like you really were writing based on inspiration, and influence from the band
yeah,
itself. Like, over and played those songs, kind of getting those shapes under your fingers, kind of being like, I fucking love that chord, and then maybe being like, okay, let me like trem pick some of those notes instead, or
mm,
so. I mean, that's sick, and then that's really how you're gonna get to your sound, anyways. I mean, I think we all can agree as musicians, like you don't sound, like sentenced by playing. I'm gonna play like sentenced. You like think of like you like it's other shit that you're gonna be like, oh well, they really actually liked, Anti-Cymax or something, and
yeah,
that's the band. That's who you should listen
mm,
to then. I mean,
mm.
that's who you should probably. You would say that's who you should listen to all the time anyway, probably.
But yeah, I think I don't know. I Justin feels this way, which is like makes me feel really good about the record. But he's like, yeah, I think this is like the band's sound, and like I'm never happy with anything. I'm super happy with this record, and I'm the same way. I'm just like so hypercritical of anything I play on, but I listen to that record sometimes, like just to enjoy it. So yeah,
Awesome.
You guys nailed it. I mean, it really is. I mean, who was that recorded with?
guess
Arthur Rizek.
right now.
I was gonna assume, but I was like, and I thought I had an inclination, but I don't want to just assume shit.
Sure.
He didn't want us to say his name again.
Well,
Yeah.
I wanted you to
That's
say.
what it was.
It's not really what I wanted you to say it. So then he's gonna just give you a real what you have coming to
Yeah.
you next time.
Yeah.
The old knuckle sandwich. God damn it. Dear Lord.
So now's the time that you get to be like the wise sage, and just share your wisdom. So you've done a lot of things, and it's been since you've been Mammoth Grinder has been active since high school, correct? So you've been like doing this a long time. You've done it in a lot of different ways. So through all of that, what do you feel like what's something you've learned or some like advice you could give to somebody starting up a band or getting into music? Like maybe you could time travel and share with yourself, like, hey, this is important. Like, know this is what you should be doing or how you should do it or whatever.
Well, I think it helps if you like practicing,
So practice. So important advice to anybody: practice.
or find something about practicing that you enjoy. I don't know if this is psycho, but I like playing scales with a metronome and speeding it up and doing that kind of stuff. And I'm sure that's boring to a lot of people, but yeah,
He loves that shit.
yeah.
I love it. I'll just put it on, and in like 20 minutes later, I'm like, holy shit, I'm still playing
Mm-hmm.
this. Like relaxing.
Yeah. I don't know. I also don't be scared of Don't be scared of theory, because you might get old and wish you learned it.
So there you go. So practice. Find a way to make practice like relevant and fun, and you're time traveling back to yourself and saying, "Listen, kid, pay the fuck attention to these drum rudiments.
Yeah.
Learn some paradiddles. Learn some theory,
Yeah.
so you're not lost later."
Oh, another advice. You don't have to release everything you write or record.
Oof, that's good.
That's a good one and a tough one.
That's a, no, that's. I mean, I think that's a great one because I think oftentimes there's things where it's like, maybe even for instance, the movie that we watched recently, they could have done another 3 or 4 rewrites, and we would have been in a much better place.
I don't think that's the same thing as a demo on my fucking computer.
That's not true because I mean, when you're sitting there and you have it, kind of cut out in a couple of parts, and you're like, this just doesn't feel right. Give it some time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe let it breathe. Maybe completely cut it and say,
Let's just take the major motion picture and just sit on it. We'll just sit on it. It's just like Jeremy's hard drive. Just save it. It's the same cost.
I definitely have some stuff that I like. I wrote something that I was like, oh, I just gotta put vocals over that. I'll do that later, and then I come back to it, and I'm like, ooh, that wasn't it. Good thing you waited or didn't put that out or whatever,
Touche.
For sure.
No, I mean, and these are great points, and I think sometimes like I think we can all kind of agree that the whole like advice or insight question can be kind of corny, but like it's cool hearing somebody in like the punk realm or a hardcore realm or death metal realm that like have a little bit of a tux, to where like some younger cats are actually trying to listen, and it's not some dude in a fucking Pink Floyd shirt and a mullet and a fucking I don't know, pair of rainbow glasses, saying, hey kid, let's just try to play Smoke on the
Yeah.
Water. And it's like, dude, I just want to play Slayer, but I think
Derek, what YouTube influencer hurt you?
I'm thinking about the 90s. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about the 90s and trying to go in for a lesson, and this motherfucker trying to teach me the Christian band songs.
Yeah.
Rainbow glasses, fuck that guy.
Dude, I'm just trying to learn Slayer. I'm
it's like,
Slayer.
Who is this fucking guy to like impose his shit on you?
Yeah.
A fresh little kid that just wants to like get good at guitar,
Dude, that's and I think that's with all the joking aside, though, honestly, I think that it's important and it's cool, for everybody that we get to have these connections with and these interactions with, to be able to hear, kind of your insight from somebody who is a younger kid and looks up to Mammoth Grinder, looks up to Power Trip, and they're like, whoa, this guy says, like actually like practice, so maybe someday he's recording me and I don't show up looking like an asshole who don't know my parts when I'm going to record something.
He's not getting kicked out of Soulfly,
Damn.
Yeah.
But thank God, whoever it was did, because we got a great Chris Ulsh solo out of the record.
So thank you.
And the unnamed as well. We can't mention him anymore. We've taken our credits.
I already burned the Tama Bridge. I'm not burning that bridge.
We have been warned. I now see personal messages popping up as well. We cannot name him anymore. No, dude.
Oh.
So cool. No, honestly, this has been fucking amazing. Hold
on, shit. I see you're landing the plane. Just a minute though. Just a minute. I have a question though. You're in Philly, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're in Philly. Have you ever frequented the Mac Mart in Philly?
The what?
It's a restaurant, mac and cheese place called Mac Mart.
No. Do I need to?
I love that fucking place. It's really good. It's really good mac and cheese. If you do that thing, if you dabble in the mac and cheese world.
Oh, I dabble.
Dude, Mac Mart. It's there's a park by it. It doesn't help you. There's like a million parks in Philly, but it's a square. Anyway, Mac Mart, bomb ass mac and cheese. Tons of different like toppings and things you can do. Like there's like Korean mac and cheese, and there's like barbecue. It's good. It's good. I would drive from DC up there just to get it. That's how good it was.
I think I might have driven by. I don't remember what this place was called, but it would be insane if there were 2 of them. But I remember driving by this place and being like, they only sell mac and cheese?
It's like a pink neon light thing. It says Mac Mart.
Yeah.
It's good. If you're ever in the neighborhood, check it out.
That's it.
So anyways, I just had to tell you that.
Yeah, no.
It made me a connection. It made me hungry for some. It's in Rittenhouse Square. Rittenhouse Square.
Rittenhouse Square, okay.
Yeah. I couldn't remember, but yep, Rittenhouse Square. Good shit.
Yeah. So I mean, we have the mac and cheese down. We've got the Mammoth grinder. We got the Power Trip, innumerable forms, many forms, if we will.
All the forms.
Every one of them. I mean,
Pokemon shit.
you've got. I mean, dude, you've got tons of shit going on, and that's only really the start of it. 2024, you've got these shows coming up. You've got a huge show coming up, Power Trip. You got Mammoth Grinder Tour. You know, where are you at mentally right now? Are you just sitting down practicing and doing a little yelling while you're doing, you know, drum practice, or how are you prepping for all this, Chris?
Yeah, I definitely haven't done vocals in a long time, so I'll try to like practice playing and singing at the same time. But yeah, I mean, I make an effort to like try to go to my rehearsal spot every day if I can, and just run through some stuff on drums, do that. I'm always playing guitar at the house. I'm sure my wife wishes I wasn't.
Those scales on repeat
Yeah.
just drive people insane.
Yeah.
It feels so good. Now, your vocal tendencies, do we go into, is there a tea situation? Do you have maybe a cola before? Is this an alcohol beverage of some sort? How are you prepping for vocals when you're going to do, say, a show or record?
I have no idea what I'm doing, and I don't do anything to prepare.
Damn.
I'm sure there's like sometimes I feel really good about it, and sometimes I'm like, that wasn't my best, and I wish I had written down what I did before those times, but I didn't. It's you don't know what you're gonna get.
It's like we said, sometimes you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's less than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's real life though. You know, there's certain times where like I will sit here and over the course of years when it comes to drums, I'll have these certain things I'll do practice wise, my hands, my feet. Some shows are great, other shows are absolute ass. Why am I even doing this prep? You know? Why do we even do this shit beforehand when it's not the same fucking consistent French fries like a McDonald's?
Yeah.
I want the consistency in my show playing, and it doesn't happen. Son of a bitch. No,
It's music theory, man. That's
Yeah.
what it is. All comes down to that.
Thank you so much. This has been absolutely awesome. Thank you for rescheduling as well. That is also huge.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. You know, a lot of people have been waiting to see this too, and it's been a lot of fun, a lot of insight. We thank you honestly for the time and for all the work that you've been putting in over these fucking years, man. Truly appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll see you at the Mammoth Grinder show in Detroit for sure.
Yeah.
We'll see you there.
Oh, awesome.
Oh.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Okay.
We'll be there, brother. You know
Oh,
what I'm saying? We can't guarantee we're not going to throw a goddamn sandal, but
Yeah.
we'll be there.
Oh, you
I'll bring the subs. I'll bring the sub sandwiches.
Okay.
Dude, no, yeah, thank you very much. Anybody that tuned in a little bit late, we will have this on YouTube within like the next month or so, edited and all that. So you know, for YouTube, it'll look a little bit better. But yeah, once again, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate the time tonight.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Chris. Have a good one, dude.
Take care, buddy.